Hello, this is Bobby Kagans with Freedom Gunworks. Today we're going to lube and reassemble custom built STI 2011. First thing we're going to do is start with the grip. We're going to take and reinsert the trigger. There's a trigger reset screw and the trigger shoe, or the trigger shoe itself. You want to make sure that reset screw goes to the bottom. It just slides in the frame in those notches. Next, you can put in your mag catch, hold the trigger in place. Just put it in. You want to go clockwise. You'll depress the mag catch out just a little and just kind of twist until you find the correct alignment on the slot. Next thing you want to do is put the frame back on the grip. Take your bushing, goes inside, lay the flat part on your finger with the barrel part upward. Slide it in the grip, get it aligned with the hole, start your top bushing screw, get in there nice and snug. You want it good and snug, you don't want to over tighten it, you don't want to round off the bolt. Same thing with the other side. Screw started in there. As you screw the screw in, it should bring the bushing up to alignment. They're half moon. There's a cutout on the top. Need to make sure that it is facing upward so it'll clear the frame as it goes in. Okay, we've got the grip reinstalled here. Next, we're going to put in the disconnector. This is an EGW hardball disconnector. The ball portion will go up through this slot and come out the hole in the top of the frame. This flat portion here that is polished will go against the back of the trigger shoe. So just slide that in there. The sear, I like to call this a diver on a diving board. The two sear legs are his arms pointing upward. It goes in like this. Put the diver on the diving board and just let him dive in. Take your sear pin, push it back through the hole. It'll only go one way because of the flange. Take your hammer and hammer strut, goes in the top hole. Them aligned, and that will slide back in there. Next is the sear spring. The sear spring has 3 legs on it. This is the beaver tail return side of the sear spring. All it does is press the beaver tail back out so that it'll reset. This is the trigger reset portion of the spring. This pushes forward on the trigger bow so that when you release the trigger, it's pushing it forward. And this is the sear spring. It puts pressure on the sear so that as the hammer rolls back, the pressure on the sear will cause it to catch in the hammer hooks and lock the hammer back. The bottom of the sear spring has a hook on it. There's a slot in the frame. You just want to put that hook in there. Roll the sear spring forward. You'll see here that the left leg of the sear spring is on the sear. The center leg is on the disconnector, pushing it back forward so it'll reset the trigger, and the beaver tail is just kind of hanging out there in the open. Next, I'll take the mainspring housing, get it started in just so it'll hold the spring in place. Roll the hammer strut down, come up and make sure it's in alignment. The beaver tail has a notch cut in it right here in the center. That's for the hammer strut. Put the beaver tail in here, get it started, make sure your hammer strut goes in that notch and your beaver tail's up. At this point, I'll take my 1/8 punch, put it through the mainspring housing pinhole, cock the hammer. Again, the hammer needs to be cocked to get the safety back in. We'll take our support side safety. It goes in this hole and rolls down so that the leg clears in the notch in the frame. We'll put back in our plunger and plunger spring into the plunger tube housing, press it in. Then we'll take our other half of our safety, get it started, make sure the paddles are in alignment. Take our little flat blade screwdriver, depress the plunger forward, and the hammer goes back in, locks into place. At this point, we can do our first function test. Does not fire. Will. You do not want to dry fire it without the slide on here. You don't want the hammer coming up and battering and hitting the frame. Without the slide on here, there's nothing to stop it to go forward from hitting the frame. You can damage your hammer and your frame. Alright, last but not least, let's put our barrel bushing back in here. The goes in the front of the trigger guard. Get our screw started. Those nice and snug. Then we'll put our Dawson Precision Ice magwell back on here. Just put it on the bench so you can put a little pressure. Get the magwell pin started. Tap it back into place. Just punch in the concave end. Now your frame is reassembled. For lubing, I use Brian Enos Slide Glide Light. You'll take a little of the Slide Glide Light, put a little here on the top of the frame rails, and in the back just kind of wipe on a little bit with your finger. Next we're going to reassemble the slide. Take the barrel, put a little of the Slide Glide Light and the top locking lugs of the barrel. Just get a little on your finger, just kind of rub it all over the barrel here. Doesn't have to be thick, just a little thin film. On the slide, we're going to take a little Slide Glide Light, get it on our finger, roll it into the frame rails, inside the slots, the slide recesses in there. Take a little on our finger and just rub it on the bottom portion of the slide. Just again, another little film. We're going to take our barrel and insert the barrel link forward, insert the barrel back in the slide. Then we'll take our guide rod, put the guide rod in, take our barrel bushing, put the barrel bushing in, making sure the nipple comes into alignment, and turn it back to the 90-degree position. Take our guide rod spring, thread it back over the guide rod. There's an open end to the guide rod spring and a closed end. The closed end always goes to the rear. The open end was from the traditional 1911s. The recoil plug had a capture cap inside so that you could take this and thread it on and it would capture the plug to the spring to keep it from flying apart loosely as you were disassembling the gun. Just capture it with your hand, turn, and twist until the plug pops out. You know you have good alignment then. At this point, I like to take a little KG Industries Micro PTF trigger lube mixed with some KG4 gun oil. Put a little inside the slide and the frame rail slots and a little coating on there. That just kind of dilutes the slide glide. Slide glide, if a gun is fitted real tight like some of these custom guns are, the Slide Glide Light can retard the slide a little bit. It's better than the full strength Slide Glide. You insert your slide stop pin. Make sure that your bushing link is in alignment. You can see it in the hole there. That started in goes through the barrel bushing link, and bring the slide up till you get to the round recess. Snap it back into place, and then you can do your safety check on the gun. Fires. Hold the trigger back, rack the slide, let it go forward. You'll hear the reset click, and again, so you know the gun will fire now. With the safety on, it will not fire. Safety off, and the hammer will fall. That's pretty much about it for maintenance. You know, if you want to be cleaning your gun, use a cleaning rod and a patch with your preferred chemical of choice. We use the KG Industries products, but that gun is reassembled and ready to take to the range. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, you can call me, Bobby Kagan's Freedom Gunworks. Phone number is 229-330-4867, or you can find us on the web at freedomgunworks.com.